Welcome to Digital Wave Riders, a podcast where we unveil the hidden stories of business success from entrepreneurs and innovators and how they engage in the digital landscape. This podcast is brought to you by NextWave Services, Charlotte's #1 web designer. Check them out at nextwaveservices.com. I'm your host, Brandon Cassiano. Let's delve into our next success story. So welcome back, everybody, to the Digital Wave Riders podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Cassiano. This morning joined in from, are you in Rochester right now?
I'm in Rochester right now.
From Rochester, New York, please welcome Mark of Global Events. Thank you for joining me this morning, Mark. Hope you're doing very well this morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So you are head of a, I want to find the best way to verbalize this company. But you are an event facilitator, and if that's not go ahead, talk about it.
Close, yeah. So I own Global Events Consulting, and
yes,
I'm a project manager, sometimes a show producer, sometimes an AV technician. We have a company that supports live events. Handling the meeting technology, the sound systems, the lighting, the videos, web streaming, anything that's live event tech related. That's in our wheelhouse.
So, and you just came back in from, you mentioned an event from DC. Is that correct? You just got back in last night from one?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we have an event. So we have various clients that we do meetings for. Universities for their alumni weekends. They bring in keynotes to medical meetings. And this one particular meeting we've done for about, I think this is our 20th year. It's a board review. Doctors have to maintain their certification every 10 years, and they have these classes where they go to kind of cram to study for the test. And this was a room full of infectious disease doctors. And online as well. And we had 5 days, 55 presentations, and 400 some odd polling questions. And it's a grueling schedule. It's a 7 a.m. to sometimes 7 p.m. days. So
yeah.
So we just got back from that, and it was a great show. It had a great crew, and I'm looking forward to Labor Day weekend to relax a little bit.
Awesome. And now your website mentions that you have about 25 years of experience. So jumping back 2.5 decades, talk about your start, how you got into providing these services for live event production, and eventually what led into the development of Global Events.
Yeah, actually, this is my 30th year. I graduated college and started working at Xerox here in Rochester. They had an opening, and they had like an internal media department that supported Xerox here in Rochester. It was a sprawling campus and was all over Monroe County. And we supported initially it was just the audiovisual, TV on a cart, typically what you expect. But that over a few years that grew into larger meetings. Eventually, it turned into satellite broadcasting. We would broadcast live events once a year, or we'd be part of a larger broadcast. That Xerox would broadcast from Rochester to California, and it would be kind of, I think, called a teamwork day. So we would do some of the projection. We'd work with the video production companies, sound companies. It was a large event, and that was the cutting my teeth and learning how to deal with clients. And eventually, then 2001 happened. 9/11 happened, and a lot of that business obviously just stopped. Nobody was doing meetings, and I eventually left Xerox and worked for another outfit out of Miami, who's no longer in business, called MCSI. And they hired us to kind of also manage national events. And we did that for a couple of years. We did a lot of medical events and local events. But they went out of business in 2004. And I just started up on my own. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just do this on my own again.
Yeah.
And so we started global events in '04,
Hmm.
and since then we've grown from just doing local events in Rochester to we've been all over the world. Clients will take us to support meetings. I've been to Australia, I've
Mm.
been to Spain, France, South America, and all over the U.S. So it's been, and most of the time now, the majority of our work is working in the lower 48, and we pretty much support events from in the top 10, markets in the U.S. Dallas, Atlanta, Orlando,
Hmm.
San Diego. Doing events that supporting associations. We also have clients that hire us to represent them for their customers, or they have too much work, so we get subcontracted a lot as well.
Very
So that's kind
nice.
of it. That's kind of what the history in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so starting out, and in '04, and obviously we've seen so many things change in the past near 2 decades from that year, um, regarding just the landscape of communications and whatnot. So talk about how when starting global events, what were your initial strategies? How did you begin working to get the word out on what you were doing and what you're offering to local and then eventual national and then international businesses?
Yeah. So strangely enough, we had a lot of it at the time. We were, we had a website. I think we got our website back in, I think it was probably our first digital marketing we've ever done, is just back in '96. We had the
Hmm.
basic of basic websites. And for a few years, that was actually a great lead generator. We had a lot of calls,
Mm.
and a lot of, and quite a few of them would turn into business. But as time went on, I would say, I have to think, I would say in the late aughts, '08, '09, it
Hmm.
changed. It went from, I think, website to more SEO. And then since then, obviously, and I think it's kind of gotten beyond my, I won't say understanding, but I
Yeah.
think the marketing of businesses now on a lot of the social media is very complicated, and um, it's not something that I do a lot of or
Hmm.
any. We'll post pictures on social media of our
Hmm.
events, but a lot of the business we get now
Yeah.
is either word of mouth,
Hmm.
or clients that have moved from company to one company to another company, and they'll
Yeah.
take us with them. So it's strange because I kind of wish for the time a little bit, because it was a lot easier back when it first started. But
Yeah.
now I have, actually, a quick side note is how disconnected I feel. I have three young sons, not young. I have three sons. Two of them are in college, and they got summer jobs. And I go back and think, wow, I have to go out there and like fill out applications and wait to hear back. Well, my one son got a job because he was on a Discord server
Yeah.
of a group of people that
Mm.
he knew
Good old Discord.
in the same industry. Yeah. And I'm like, what, Discord? You got a job off of Discord?
Hmm.
Really? And he's like, yeah, they just put it out there, and he's been working for them all summer. Actually, I think tomorrow is his last day for the summer. He starts school next week.
Yeah.
So like that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
I'm like, where the marketing is. I don't know. What are your thoughts about? I'm curious to hear. I know you've interviewed other people. How do they do marketing to get, outside of the Salesforce end of
Hmm.
things? How do you get good client leads and grow business on the technology side? I'm curious to hear what other people are doing.
I mean, from my experience, everyone I see and or have interviewed for the show is doing a fair balance of not just engaging the digital landscape, but also doing a lot of what you could probably still call traditional word of mouth marketing. There's at least in our market, which is Charlotte, there's so many networking opportunities. I'm actually working with also a lot of startups, so I'm seeing how many other resources for like person to person, in person discussions and marketing chances there are. So, and then on top of that, people are usually, getting a website freshly built either for themselves by their own team or from a group like Next Wave. And so making sure that they have that inherent place anyone searching online can go to and learn more about them. But on your end, seeing that the change over time, and as you said, kind of a space that's a little beyond what you would usually engage in, what reservations did you have, when in seeing how much things have progressed, did you have moments of pause? Did you have moments where it's like, I don't know if I want to invest in this path or another? And talk about how those internal or external discussions were if you had them with your team.
Yeah, so we did a little bit of discussions we had with Nextway was investing heavily in SEO, in larger figures, and before it was, low to no cost. And then, the big discussion which I've had, and they said they've seen results in, is kind of doing SEO with a larger budget, spending
Yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And then they were starting to see, okay, I'm getting legitimate customers out of this work. So I think the payback was there, but it was kind of like, going to Vegas and I want to play at the $5 blackjack table, but to really play and succeed, you need to play at the $500 table, per $500 per hand to get into play. So and then on top of, I struggle with spending that money because on top of that, there are times we are just so busy that do I and not all the time, but a lot of the work is like, do we want to be busier?
Right.
I think for me, is the struggle is I love the relationships we have and maintain with our clients, but I don't want to get to the point where it's too big. If it's beyond my reach or I can't give the customer service I want to give. I'm not in this business to, I always say, maybe my wife's disappointed in this, but I'm not into this to get rich. I want to get into this to help people.
Right. And you don't want to spread yourself too thin, which is complete. Yeah, I totally
exactly
get that. Right. And so then have you had any, or instilled any kind of strategies on meeting that halfway of maintaining a feasible bandwidth for you and your team so that you can still be active, you can provide this quality high tier involvement with your clients, and then also providing the opportunity for a not reasonable, but like I haven't had coffee this morning.
I need to have mine.
But still provide opportunities for consistent growth that doesn't grow wildly out of control, as you mentioned.
Yeah, so a lot of this is for me. I really enjoy the person to person. So a lot of the marketing we're doing, I think, I've used occasionally. We'll use LinkedIn to connect with clients that we've lost touch with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's worked out great because we have a shared past experience. And you're right. I'm not there. It's a constant struggle between, we want to, we don't want to get too big, but we also can't be, I won't say content, but I shouldn't be complacent with the clients that we have. So,
yeah.
It's definitely we're and it's strange because part of the business is you get new clients, and then just for various reasons, sometimes just people move on. We lose clients too.
Right.
So we want to kind of keep that pipeline going. So a lot of it is, also like just last week, there was a visitors association here in Rochester that I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't been to in 20 years. So we started just putting our name back out there to let the local community know that we're here, and we've been doing this for a while, and we would love to support the local community. So there's a little bit of kind of boots on the ground, let people meet us. If you need something, give us a call. That's kind of maybe the old-fashioned way of getting
Yeah.
more business.
So from here, do you guys have any immediate plans to explore um, anything additional, even if it's not like huge new stuff or anything that's just kind of supplementary to what you're already doing? Anything just to kind of add on, try out, just to see, okay, how can this work? How can that work? Kind of thing coming up for you?
I I don't know that there's any. What is new? I guess I have to think about that a little bit, because a lot of the business that we're doing, we the what is new. We're because we're in the technology business. We set up technology for meetings.
Right.
A lot of our bandwidth is in what helps our jobs either run better, help our clients better, more efficient, looks better, lighter, that kind of thing. A lighter sound system, LED lights, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So the technology end of it, we haven't tried. I guess I haven't. You know, I would like to learn a little bit more about how we can get out there in a digital way.
Mm-hmm.
That's this, even this. I mean, obviously, you're doing a podcast about technology, and this is a great idea. I think the more content you get out there, people take time, and podcasts are a great long form way of people to learn about an
Absolutely.
industry. So I think that's right. That's why you and I have had. I've kind of struggled, like, okay, what are we going to discuss? But I think this is also a great channel. If people just want to understand what we do, then maybe they'll decide to maybe reach out.
Right. Absolutely. Now, anything for your business that's not marketing related, like anything big that's coming up that your business is going to be announcing, any kind of, I don't know if you guys do like specialty packages or just kind of anything regarding the consultation services you provide. What's going to be happening that people should know about regarding global events?
Yeah, that's great. So we do have some. We have some interesting things coming up in the future, but I can't really share it right now. I don't
Mm,
want it to be public, but what I will say is we do have a lot of great events coming up that we're supporting here in Rochester. We're doing
mm,
the University of Rochester's Alumni Weekend, and it's a lot of great. We do outdoor sound. There's a lot of keynote presenters and
mm-hmm.
live music. Um, we're traveling in the fall for a general practitioners meeting in Baltimore. So it's a busy fall. I think our industry is, after COVID,
Yeah,
has people are now more than making up for the work and business that they had when it stopped in 2019, early
right,
2020.
right.
So everybody's really kind of stretched thin, and I think
Mm-hmm.
this is for the audiovisual industry is I think there's a lot of consolidation going on between companies.
Very
So
cool.
I think that presents some opportunity for us. We'll see. So it didn't really answer your question, but I think there's things coming.
You did. So you definitely did. You said you couldn't talk about it yet. So it sounds to me like people are going to have to seek you out, follow you, and keep their ears to the ground for whenever that thing you cannot talk about yet can be talked about, and you start talking about it. Is what it sounds
Yeah,
like to me.
maybe this time next year will be a much more, I won't say it'll be an interesting conversation this time next year.
Okay, I'll have to keep that in mind 100%. So, for people who are looking to find you, where is the best place for them to get a hold of you? What platforms are you using to engage with people at the moment?
Yeah, thank you for that. So obviously, we are at globalevents.com. You can reach out you can give us a call. We're 877-834-7432, or you can email me at mlabue@globalevents.com. We're on LinkedIn. We're on various social media. You can find us. Just look up Global Events, Rochester, New York.
Sounds perfect. All right, Mark, thank you so much for joining me this morning all the way from Rochester. I really appreciate you hopping on, and we will see you next time on Digital Wave Riders, and have a great one. Thanks for hanging with us on the Digital Wave Riders podcast. It was brought to you by NextWave Services, the leading company in web design and marketing in Charlotte, North Carolina. Check the episode notes to learn how you can connect with our guests or be a guest. Subscribe now or follow if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next ride.